Star Trek Enterprise series finale, these are the voyages. Trip should not have been killed off, and the episode should not have taken place in the holodeck. But hey, by comparison to where Star Trek has gone since that episode, all is forgiven in my opinion. In 2009, we got J.J. Abrams' first Star Trek film, and then in 2013, we got Into Darkness, and in 2016, we got Star Trek Beyond, more like Star Trek Beyond Reason, followed by 5 seasons of the cringe-inducing Michael Burnham cryathon known as Star Trek Discovery. And then there was the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Picard, dark, edgy, filled with alcoholic characters, excessive violence, ridiculously bad writing, and they turned Picard into a frickin' android. Season 3 was good, but one swallow does not make a summer. Star Trek Strange New Worlds continues to feel like an unintentional parody of Star Trek. I just can't take it seriously. And so from the slippery slope of creative and intellectual decline that started with the first Kelvin timeline brain fart in 2009, we finally reached the absolute nadir of the Star Trek franchise. The Section 31 made-for-TV movie. A film that seems to go out of its way to look as un-Star Trek as possible, and just like any other modern, dark, edgy sci-fi action movie. Hey, there's Philippa Georgiou, sucking on an eyeball. Boy, I hope that doesn't belong to Icheb from Picard Season 1. Like you needed reminding of that. There's a really bad girl power hip-hop song in the trailer.
Okay, ladies, now let's get information.
That sounds very Star Trek to me. Star Trek, Slay Queen, the movie. The venues used in the film, the colour palette, the costuming, the lighting, everything about this looks as far removed from Star Trek as you can get.
31 is a Black Ops division. Spy work.
Since the bad robot era of Star Trek, Section 31 has basically been like the CIA. Everyone knows about them, and they're not supposed to. But in the 24th century, it was entirely off the books. Now it's like a household name for not-so-secret agents to just run around in black leather. Expectations across lots of franchises have certainly been subverted in recent years, and I think that's fair to say, but this transformation makes Star Trek look totally unrecognisable. If I was tasked with writing and producing a Section 31 TV movie, it wouldn't look anything like this. In fact, what I think they should have done is had a Section 31 operative posing as a Starfleet officer on a Federation starship. At least that way, this movie would have looked like actual Star Trek, rather than this nightmarish dystopian fever dream.
Somebody's got to keep it lively, right?
Somebody's got to keep it lively, right? Wow, it's such cringe dialogue, and Michelle Yeoh's delivery is just appalling. You know, there is a positive to all of this, actually, because personally, I've been able to make peace with some of the weakest episodes of Star Trek from its classic and golden era, to the point where I actually have a new appreciation for those old episodes. The original series episode, Spock's Brain, gets an awfully bad rap, but at least it looks and sounds like Star Trek.
His brain is gone.
Deep Space Nine's Move Along Home might be considered a poor episode, but at least it looks and sounds like Star Trek. Voyager's Threshold might be a bit silly and doesn't really make sense from a biological evolutionary perspective, but at least it looks and sounds like Star Trek. Star Trek The Next Generation's Up the Long Ladder is pretty embarrassing for its depiction of a group of cliched, stage Irish characters, but Commander Riker found some positives. As bad as New Trek is, it certainly helped me make peace with the weakest of the classic era Trek. Now, on the subject of Enterprise and its worst episode, its finale, These Are the Voyages, I would like to point you in the direction of a novel, The Good That Men Do, which was written by Andy Mangels and Michael A. Martin. A very good continuation of Enterprise. It retcons quite a few things from that series finale, and let's just say there was more to Trip's wink to Archer than we realised. It explores a conspiracy that involves Trip. It's a brilliant expanded universe story, and I think it will definitely help you make peace with the events of that episode. So that's my headcanon now. In fact, my headcanon is that garbage like Section 31 isn't actually canon.
It's gonna be bumpy and bad.
It's gonna be bumpy and bad. Yeah, I have absolutely no doubt